Hello everyone, this is Teacher Wayne, and in this video I'm doing a review of a game called Elite Dangerous. So back in 1984, a developer called David Braben co-created a game called Elite. I played it, and in the 1990s, on my ZX Spectrum at the time, I played this game and became elite. And in those days, to become elite was you had to do a lot of space combat. And at the time, my two favourite games on my Spectrum was Elite was one of them, and the other one was a wonderful little strategy game called Lords of Midnight, which I now has an app on my phone. Those were my favourite two games. So fast forwarding to now, 2 years ago I was teaching some of my H&D students, and I found one of them playing a game. So I told him off for playing the game, as you do when you're teaching, but I was looking at what he was playing, and I noticed it looked a lot like an updated version of Elite that I used to play. So he stopped playing it, but I had a conversation with it and found out. He told me all about it, and I purchased it myself. And this student, who's Commander Harry Potter, he helped me do some of the initial missions and helped me get enough money to purchase my first ship, which was first real ship, a Cobra Mark III. Let me just show you what I'm looking at here. You can see me in a ship here, and I'm in what's known as an aspect explorer. It's an exploration ship, and I've found an alien crashed into a planet here. There's alien ships in this game, and people are bumping into them more and more. But at this time, I've just found a crashed one. I'm scouting around it, and then you see me in a little short while in a buggy, and the buggy is called an SCV, and they are really fun to drive. You see me bouncing around the landscape to this exact site, jumping up and down in this low gravity environment, and crashing into rocks, and picking up bits and pieces from this site, and then I resell them. It's one of the ways of making money in this game. So as I've said, making money is really important. You need money to buy the ships and to upgrade the ships, and the bigger ships you've got, the more cargo bay it can have, or the better weapons it can have. There's a bit of compromise with this game. You can go more combat, or you can go more trading. I've gone to more trading. I'm what is called a PvE player. I'm not really PvP. There are some that just play this PvP, play the game in what's known as open, and go and basically have lots of skirmishes, lots of combat. Commander Harry Potter is one of these players, and that's not really my cup of tea. I do PvP occasionally, and there are some clips of me in this game doing lots of combat, but I do it as PvE, not PvP. But anyway, so let me just talk a little bit about this game. As I was saying, the core of the game is gain money, and there's lots of different ways of getting money. There's trading, there's exploration, there's doing missions. There's lots and lots of missions, and some of these missions are actually trading missions or exploration missions where it gets a bit blurry. There's combat, there's bounties. You can be a bounty hunter and getting bounties on things. There's piracy, where you're obviously blowing other ships, stealing their cargo. There's what's known as passenger missions, which is where you can get passenger modules for your ship, or buy bespoke passenger liners and transport your passengers around the galaxy, drop them off and send them on sightseeing tours. I've not really engaged with that, but that's another way of making money. There's mining, and that's basically you go out to an asteroid belt and you mine them, and you get minerals and metals off them, and you resell them. Let me just pause for a minute in my little dialogue just to show you here. There's a lot of combat in this game, and here you are. There's a battle taking place between two of the superpowers. Well, there were actually factions within superpowers. On the left is a Federation battle cruiser. On the right is an Imperial battle cruiser, and they are bashing each other out. And there's obviously a lot of other ships around them. As you can see, lots of laser fire. I mean, I love the combat in this game, but you need a combat ship to do it, and that's what I was saying. They are very expensive. In this little clip you're seeing, I've got what's known as the Ferdinand, which is one of the better combat ships, but that costs me, I think it's 50 million plus, and then to upgrade it is to get it combat ready, you've got to double and triple this amount, so it's hundreds of millions just to get into a decent combat ship. But there's ways and means of doing everything.
One's on my side.
So you're going to see me doing some combat, and then you'll see me getting some bounty. So I'm just going to stop talking about this for a minute while I get back with the dialogue. So there's lots of different ways of making money. Let me just talk about the there's 3 superpowers. There's the Federation superpower, based around Sol, the solar system, which is a bit like, you could say, Europe and USA. Basically, it's democracy based, but it's capitalism. It's all about money. It's all about money, buying and selling stuff. It's all about technology and selling stuff, and that's what their thing is. There's another human society called the Imperium, or Imperial, which is a bit like the Roman Empire. They are very different. They have slavery for a start, but it's a lot, sort of like a legalized slavery. And they have ranks. It's all about people power, their society, and you can align yourself when you're playing this game with these different superpowers, and then within each power there are powers and there's politics. So within the Imperial faction, I'm allied with a power that's trying to get rid of slavery, and I'm working with them and doing work for them and trying to do their sort of stuff to sort of abolish slavery. So it's quite interesting. This, by the way, is an outside view of my Ferdinand. I think it's a beautiful little ship. The camera control, by the way, in third person is quite hard, so you can see this jerky camera movement. It's me trying to figure out how to use it. What else can I say? So yeah, there's the Federation superpower, there's the Imperial superpower, there's a third one called Alliance. Now the Alliance I don't know much about, and they are one of the hidden ones, and there's not many people know much about them, but they don't like the Imperials and they don't like the Federation. And there's also aliens involved in this game as well. But you do bump into them. You saw me doing a crash one. There are ones out that intercept you in hyperspace, and they shut your machine down and scan you. I've not actually had this happen to me, but I've seen other YouTube clips of other players that have had this happen to them, and I believe that they're going to play a much more major part in the game in the future, and that's where it gets really interesting. Let me just do a quick show what I'm doing here. I've got another ship of mine called a Python, and I'm doing a bit of trading to show you what trading looks like. I'm buying and selling some commodities on the market, selling some stuff and buying stuff, and then you see me flying off in hyperspace into another system. I've spent a lot of time doing this. There's so much to this game. It's very immersive. As I was saying, it's like you can, if you want, have nothing to do with anyone else and play it completely solo, and you can completely not talk to anyone, never connect with anyone, go out there on the rim exploring. And there's some people that just do that, and they just take beautiful screenshots of sunrises and fuel scoop off suns and play it like that, or they go mining and go into asteroid belts and get loads and loads of minerals and with their mining ships and fight pirates off and then come back and sell their goods off. Some people play it like that. Some people play intense social play and join clans and go and have big PvP combat with their clan versus another clan. And I've seen videos of massive skirmishes in PvP, which sort of reminds me almost like sort of like that. You could say that's the only bit. There's a bit like CS:GO with this massive combat. So you can play these games in so many different modes. But I like to sort of, one of the things I love about the game is I'm exploring all the different aspects. I've been doing mainly trading. I've tried a bit of mining. I've tried some exploration, as you saw earlier, and I've done some combat. I've even tried a bit of PvP, but that's not my cup of tea, he says. Try not to rhyme too much. I'm not particularly good at combat, I must admit, so I try to avoid getting PvP, because it's, if your ship explodes and you are taken out, you have to pay what's known as the insurance cost, which is 10% of the cost of the ship. So if your ship costs 50 million, your insurance is 5 million, and you have to pay that back. In game right now, I've got about 200 million. So, and my most expensive ship, the Anaconda, was 100 and I think I might get the price wrong about this, 120 odd million. So it's about 12 to 13 million. That's just for the base ship. And then as soon as you upgrade it and add extra modules, insurance can zoom right up. I think insurance for my Anaconda is something like 20 million. So if, for example, if my Anaconda gets taken out, that's 20 million that it costs me. That Python that you're looking at now, and by the way, those two ships there are Imperial battle cruisers that are in a space dock. If my Python, the insurance for it is 8 million, so they are quite expensive. There is a risk, obviously, when you're doing your missions and you're moving from system to system. There are a lot of NPC pirates, and some of them are elites, and they are very dangerous. I've been intercepted by some of them, and they've killed me. But I've also equally been intercepted, and I've killed them off. 9 times out of 10, I tend to survive. Oh, but this, by the way, is the new part of the system that's coming out soon, where you can actually, you've got what's known as an avatar. Here I've set my avatar up. Just talk about the fact you're going to have be able to walk around in spaceships and in space stations, and do that and get out your ship more. Right now it's mainly in the ship or these little SCVs, but there's talk about having this sort of outside moving around in your sort of main character. And also within this new patch that's coming out soon is something called multi-crew. Some of the big ships, like I've got an Anaconda for example, and Imperial cutters and Federation corvettes, you can have lots of different crews. You can have some manning your turrets and some flying little fighters. You're going to see a little clip in me in a fighter pilot. They are tiny little ships fighters, very hard to steer, very, very responsive. It's like go-kart racing. You tend to oversteer and overreact, and also all the weapons are all fairly fixed, not what's known as they're not gimbaled, so they don't lock onto the target easily. Here I am with my little fighter, fighting away against what's known as an Imperial Clipper, which is mainly a trading vessel, but it does have some combat abilities. And there's my allied ship that I'm docked with, which I'm connected with. I'm in a wing of 3 of us. As you can see at the top of the screen, there's my 2 of the wingmates, and bump. See, my shields have just gone down there to 21%. I got hit once and I nearly died. So, but my shields regenerate, and I'm back in the combat and I get involved, and you see me actually take it out, and then eventually you see me docking with the mothership. And I mean, can I just say, this is part of the beauty of the game. This is an asteroid belt. This is where the miners come to these sort of areas, but as you can see, this is where also the pirates come. So just because you think you're out here and out on your own, the pirates sometimes catch up with you, and you end up in what's known as these conflict zones, and it gets really interesting. So the dynamics of the games can change really quickly. That's the enemy shields coming back on there. Can change really quickly. I struggle to lock on with these weapons because it so overreacts, but I managed to start carving my name on its hull. And then you see me blowing it up in a minute. I'm managing to get a lock on. It's right down now. It's nearly gone, and then you're going to see me just destroying it in a very short while. There we are. I nearly crashed into it actually. It's fun when you actually see you carving your name on it. Yeah, it's blown up now. So anyway, there's a lot to this game. It's very immersive. Needs a lot of time to play it. It's not for the casual gamer. It does need a commitment, but the reward is the fact that it's quite beautiful. By the way, it's one of the few games that's VR capable. A lot of the people have VR headsets, and I was talking to online to an American from Florida who's had a VR headset that was flying another fighter like me, and he was describing what the combat's like in VR. And I think VR, the graphics are even better because it's 4K. Much more sort of like in depth, especially hit stuff, and he starts spinning around. He said he almost got got motion sickness. So it's a beautiful game. So anyway, you're gonna see me dock in a minute, and this is Commander Cheeseman True, and inviting you to join me online sometime in the year 3303, and me calling off and goodbye.